good morning, night to everyone here. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be doing a podcast on when it's morally justified to overthrow the government. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I think this is really relevant to our modern society right now. More than ever, our country feels more divided day by day. Each day, it feels like people are dividing more and more and more apart in moral beliefs, religious beliefs, political beliefs. It feels like our country is very divided right now. We hear people talking about overthrowing the government left and right on the internet, on the news. We even see protests happening right now. But none of us stop to question when it's morally justified to overthrow the government. Just as a quick overview, I do want to talk about a few theories, right? The social contract theory and then an appeal to God. These are the two big ones. Social contract theory is the bigger one, but these are the two main ones I've been able to see. Social contract theory was developed by three independent philosophers, not working together, over time around the century, from 1600s to 1700s. Here, I'll read this off for you. Social contract theory is a philosophical concept in which the government and its people agree to cooperate in creating a functional society. It states that the natural state of man is chaotic and unstable. Therefore, the people must come together to create a society for protection and escape from a brutal state of nature, and find the common good. However, in doing this, people must give up some of their freedom to an all-powerful sovereign in exchange for protection of the people's natural rights such as life, liberty, and property. If the government were to fail at upholding it, end of the deal, the people will have the right to overthrow the government. This is because sovereignty lies in the people, not the monarchy, okay? That's very important. Now, first we have Thomas Hobbes. Now, Thomas Hobbes, what did he do? In 1651, he made the first outlines of the modern political philosophy. I'm gonna need more to this. Basically, landed the groundworks for what would now become modern social contract theory. He stated that mankind naturally is chaotic and unruly, so it is important for the people to come together and make a society. But in doing so, they have to give up some of their natural rights for the protection and ability to escape a brutal state of nature. Next up, we have Jean-Jacques Rousseau. No, there's no Rousseau. Sounds about right. In 1762, Jean Rousseau expanded social contract theory by arguing that legitimate political authority comes from a collective agreement among free individuals to form a society governed by general will. He believed that all humans, were born with the same rights. He believed that when coming into a society, you're transforming your natural rights into civil rights, where the individual has to obey laws and push for the common good. And then we have John Locke. That John Locke, he's an awesome guy. I'm gonna tell you why in just a little bit. John Locke also believed that people were born with their natural rights, life, liberty, property. He also thought that the government should protect those rights, and if the government ever were to fail at protecting or upholding these rights, then the people shall have the ability or right to overthrow the government. As he quoted, this is a quote, "There is no difference between an unjust government and a thief. Just like I am right to throw off a thief, we are right to throw off an unjust government." He also believed that people voluntarily came together to form a society. John Locke was very important for society, specifically American society, because his form of social contract transcended into what we now know as the Declaration of Independence. A prime example of social contract theory being adopted was in the American Declaration of Independence. The Declaration argues when a government becomes systematically destructive and tries to reduce it to an absolute dystopianism, it is the right of the people to overthrow such government and provide a better future for the people. They used John Locke's social contract as the backbone for this argument. Now, this was so revolutionary because this was the first time philosophy has ever been used to justify a overthrowing, such as the Revolution of America. At the time, though, that was an extremely radical idea. Super radical. Today, we just know that as the right to overthrow the government. That is justified. We use philosophy to justify overthrowing the government. Now, of course, there are different views. Different people have different views. That's going to happen when everyone has consciousness. My stomach hurts. Right here, try to overthrow my government because she thought I wasn't upholding her natural rights. Look at this. Now, this is where I want to get into the appeal to God. Some people don't believe that overthrowing the government is a contract between people and the government, but instead, people obey God, so does the government. God, or a divine power, lends power to a government. And now that government has the ability to govern its people. But if the government becomes unjust, then it no longer has that divine ability to govern the people. This idea states, when a government tyrannically This idea states, when a government is tyrannical and disobeys the order of God and forces its people to disobey the order of God, it is the duty of the people to overthrow such government. In other words, obedience to the government ends when disobedience to God begins. This stems from biblical origin. We must obey God rather than men. That is quoted from the Bible. Take a look at a specific person that believes in this. A famous YouTuber named Drew Hopkins, who runs the YouTube channel Dirty Civilian, supports this claim. He states it in the Bible. It urges us to continue paying taxes even when the government becomes tyrannical, and to wait for a lower magistrate to lead the people through a successful revolution. This guy was super confusing. He was using a lot of Bible references. This only applies to people who have a certain belief of the Bible and or truly trust that appealing to God is the only way to overthrow the government. Now, why is all this important? Why are we making such a big deal in what is morally justified to overthrow the government? What's the drawback? Well, there are multiple drawbacks. Consequences of revolting. Violence and loss of life. It is almost certain, almost guaranteed, that we're going to see blood spilled, that we're going to see death. Political instability. Overthrowing a government will often create a power vacuum, which can lead to civil war, chaos, and authoritarian backlash. We can also see economic collapse. Overthrowing the government could lead to trade deals ending, businesses to fail or stop investing, which could destabilize or collapse the economy. Humanitarian crisis, displacement, famine, and breakdown of public services often follow major uprisings. Repression. Failed attempts could lead to more laws, more restrictions, heavy restrictions, and increased surveillance. That's not very good. If you fail, you could be facing a worse outcome than what you had before. Last one is international isolation. Revolting governments may face sanctions, loss of allies, or foreign intervention. That's not very good. We need our allies. We don't want foreign intervention. That's really bad. These are the consequences. The consequences is that we could be left off worse than what we started with. So that's what the morality comes from. Is it justified? I have some philosophical questions for you. According to your beliefs, at what point should we start revolting? How many policies, regulations, suppression, etc. do we need to endure before saying enough is enough? Second question. Are you willing to sacrifice for a better future? Would you still want to revolt for a change if the price to obtain it was blood? Are you willing to gamble everything? I know some of you are like, yeah, I like gambling. I love gambling. I need to gamble. Stop. Are you willing to accept the possibility that the next administration could be more tyrannical than the previous, possibly destabilizing the nation? How do your political/religious/moral views influence what you think is morally justified to overthrow the government? I want you to think about these questions and reflect on them. I know. I forgot to add the conclusion. I'll be right back. In conclusion, one, is it morally justified to overthrow the government, is a very philosophical question with different answers depending on who you ask. This is because people have different political, moral, and religious beliefs that influence how they perceive a justified revolution. However, there seems to be a substantial amount of evidence that suggests that social contract theory is the most popular answer. Social contract theory uses logos to explain itself, which is why I believe an entire nation uses social contract theory to justify revolutions. Oh my god, I'm done? I'm getting like a 2, but I'm done.